Okay, thank you so much. I just want to discuss about services in the new capital city of Indonesia. If you talk about divisions, we know that smart, green, etc. But about health, environment, safety, security, and quality, how to manage this? Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Isradi, Director of Balikpapan University. I 1000% agree with you that to some extent, this is my personal views on how the urban planner, take a city in more sort of like infrastructure, economic, and less on the health and education way, right? If I may be biased, but it looks like to me that if we do some urban plan and management, we tend to not put health, education, and social protection all together with the infrastructure, for example, or with all the economic infrastructure. So for me, the COVID-19 opens up a Pandora box that reveal that we should put more on the social sectors. That's for sure. How we can integrate, for example, the education facilities, how we integrate, for example, the health facilities that is very accessible, not only for those who has money or the haves, but to those who are on the bottom of the society also. They must be able, in the difficult situations, access that kind of basic services. And that's include health, education, and social protections. In the past, we tend not to put this one as a dominant part of the planning process. But nowadays, I believe that every city has to make that one on top on the list. Because without health, we cannot do anything. Yeah. We can have a good infrastructure, we can have a modern building, we can have a good, for example, advanced technology, but at the end of the day, health is the basic thing that every human has to have that one. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you, and I think for us in planning, urban planning, city planning, urban managers, we want to have that kind of things integrated as part of the comprehensive planning policies, and also a holistic approach to have a good planning and also a good, the action plan to be there. If again, there is another pandemic coming to the cities, because at the end of the day, cities is the engine of the economic growth. If city is not healthy, then perhaps 80% or that kind of proportion of the economic growth will be affected because the city's condition is not healthy. That's my take. Ashok.
Oh, yeah, sure. So to add to what was said before is, I think as urban planners, when we do city planning, citywide planning, and we come up with master plans, we have to be more upfront about addressing informal settlements, because most of the times master plans are silent about what is going to happen to informal settlements. They are focused more on planning satellite cities and redistributing population and services. But I think it's important to really put informal settlements front and center. And one of the ways in which that can be done is also to really look at decoupling service provision from legal status. So irrespective of legal status, providing services should be prioritized, and that kind of addresses the health issue. If we're really concerned about the health issue, then we need to look at it from that perspective of decoupling service provision from legal status. So I just wanted to.
Pak Rector, one more thing. I mean, Pak Bambang talked about health, but there's another H word, which is, I think, very directly related to health, which is happiness. When we meet each other, the first question is always, how are you? How's your health? And so on. So the happiness of people living in cities in Asia and the Pacific is, I think, directly related to their well-being, their health. So for us to help create cities which give space for people to be healthy is extremely important. And I think we saw that directly during the COVID pandemic, where all of a sudden the number of foldable bike sales in Jakarta went through the roof, where we saw in Paris bikers take over the streets which were from normally used by cars. In Barcelona, where you have these super blocks. So Bambang and his team, of course, have a huge challenge, but also a massive opportunity to put health at the center of the design of the capital, the new capital, because the moment that your children are able to play, that your parents, that your elderly people are able to go for a walk safely, that of course also creates an environment where people are happy to actually move to that capital. Because the last thing, of course, what we want is a capital just full of civil servants who are doing hard work there, but there's no dynamic. There's not a city where, so creating that space for health and happiness to come together, I think, is a very important element. So thanks for that question.
John, do you want to say something?
No, it's okay. I'll wait for another opportunity.
All right, that's one thing. In regard to the health, security, and safety, we don't have the answers. The answers will come from the communities themselves. So it's very important to involve the community, to ask them what are their needs in terms of health and security, and to involve them in the co-production of the services. And that's where we are emphasizing that communities themselves, civil society organizations, it's very important to promote a healthy civil society. And that, I think, is partly very, important for the backbone of the city in a way. So the state does not need to take on all the responsibility, neither should all the responsibility be left to the market. There is much more scope for co-production if we think of this far ahead and act sort of smartly in a way. So that's my 2 cents.